Hi, everybody, and welcome back. I'm Paige Elizabeth, and today I have with me on Creating Consciousness, I've got Amy Sheesh. And Amy is a really interesting character in my life. She's not a client, she is actually my ghostwriter. We wrote a book together in 2019 called Leading an Intentional Life. And I don't know if you followed me long enough, maybe you know her story. She was late to a session once and she said, "I'm sorry, I'm late, but I left my husband today." She said, "I couldn't keep writing your book and living a lie." So she is one of the most empowering stories that I like to share. And now we're writing the second book. We're writing my second book, which is called When Women Speak, They Heal, A Guide to the Female Nervous System. And that's coming out soon. So we got the first book done in 6 months. Hopefully this one will be done in 3. Uh, and as a result, I don't always have clients on because they're reluctant to reveal themselves, and I respect that. But Amy is always game to have discussions and put herself out there. And as a result of writing the book, it's very confrontational. Would you agree, Amy?
Yeah, there's times when we do editing sessions and I'm like, why are you attacking me?
Well, and the book is written for women over 35. Amy's going to be 40 this year. No, next year, January. And so she's right there in that demographic that I speak to. And today we're going to talk mostly about reparenting because it's a technique that I rely on. I love reparenting. It has really just like totally sped up the healing process in my life, and I teach it regularly. We're going to go through some reparenting, some stuff that Amy has brought up that's been a trigger for her. But before we do that, Amy, just to kind of enlighten the audience, like in terms of the book, right? Because I put together kind of like, we'll call it a skeleton version, 190 pages. you know, I did a lot of the initial part because I was so excited about this, Amy. And as you've gone through it, what would you say so far has been the most like uncomfortable, revealing, or triggering part for you?
That's a great question. So I think the most triggering part is knowing that I'm going to say this wrong at first and I'll fix it, but knowing that it can be fixed, like we've been fed this lie that our hormones are in charge and once they go haywire, you're just stuck there. So there's a responsibility to step in and say, okay, this is mine. And if I'm not going to manage it, then I have to admit that I don't want to. And you came up with a really good catchphrase the other day. Do you want to share it or no? You don't have to.
Well, so on TikTok, I get not so much on YouTube yet. I haven't gotten to that point where I get tons of comments yet. On TikTok, I do, on my TikTok videos. And, I'll make a point about something and someone will rebuttal, and they'll be like, no, it really is just perimenopause. Like, I'm not in charge of any of my symptoms. And I haven't done it yet, but like TikTok will allow you to take a comment and video reply to it. And, I just kind of want to do that one of these days with one of these comments and say, repeat after me. I want to be a victim. Like, because that's all it is. I mean, it's like if you'd rather have a label, then that's what you are, right? If I say that I'm just old or I'm aging, then I don't have to succumb to any of the accountability as to why my body is falling apart, right? It just is this thing that's happening to me. And a lot of people operate from that space, and I don't speak to them. Like if you're somebody who is like, I, am just screwed up. Okay, great, have a ball, but like don't put that on those of us who actually want to heal and live our best lives, right? So yeah, I'm not a fan of those kind of comments. But again, like when you reveal a truth, And people don't know how to integrate that. The biggest defense is just, no, no, it really is this problem. And you come across it with everything. No, I'm just neurodivergent. No, I just have ADHD. And I wrote off a friend recently and I said, you don't have ADHD. You're not neurodivergent because every time the guy that you're dating wants to make time for you, guess who has absolutely no problem adding that to her schedule and showing up appropriately? Funny how like it's it's basically just a prioritization issue. You have no problem being perfectly available to him and absolutely anything he wants from you. But when it comes to work, diet, health, your friendships, you're like, I just can't get my shit together. Right?
And I think you nailed it with the word integration. So like I read a lot and sometimes the wording is so good and you're like, yeah, yeah, that's the issue. And they never get to like, how do you fix this? So you're kind of stuck in this place where you're like, now I know there's a problem, but nobody's addressing how to fix it. So I think integration is a big issue and it's not exactly willful ignorance, although there is a lot of that, right? Like there's a lot of just don't tell me because then I don't have to be responsible for it. But I also think there's so much conflicting information out here now, Paige, with um all these creators and they all say different things, go keto, don't go keto, fast, don't fast, carnivore, don't carnivore. So vegan, don't vegan. And you're stuck in this place where you're like, I don't actually know what information is true anymore, right? Like, or what's best for me because each body does have different needs or whatever. Um, so I think the landscape, even though knowledge is available, has actually gotten harder than it was before,
Oh,
where you would just get wrong information. Now it's like you have information coming in from so many places that you end up almost paralyzed by it, like I don't know what to do, so I'll do nothing kind of idea.
well, and a lot of people tend to, I mean, there's different patterns I come across, but like one of the patterns I see is like if I can't get it right, I don't want to do it at all. Or I don't want to have to think about it. So just tell me what to do. There's a lot. And the thing is, when you want to get it right, there's nuance. You can't just depend on someone to tell you what to do, nor can you expect it to be perfect out the gate because there's nuance. And for example, like there's a supplement that I recommend to women in the beginning of the program. You might need it for 2 weeks, you might need it for 2 months, but once you're optimized, you don't want to stay on it, right? And so they're like, well, how do I know when I shouldn't use it? And how should I taper? And it's like, they just want a black and white response when really it's like, ask your body, you're going to have to ask your body, like, is it just a matter of lower dosage? Is it a matter of going off altogether? Do we want to do this once a week? Do we want to, not do it at all after a certain point, right? Like, because sometimes with these supplements, it's just a switch and the supplement can help you switch, right? But you don't want to stay there because it's like it's too much. You don't need it long term. You just need it to activate a certain signal in the body, right? And that's great. But like then everyone just wants like, well, like, but do I stay in it forever? And how do I taper? And it's like it's different for everybody. I can't give you a box like a cookie cutter answer. It's gonna be different for everybody. And so it is hard to get information. And again, if you're somebody who wants to heal, then you recognize that part of that healing process is tuning into your body and the messages that your body is giving you. Symptoms are not, a sign of weakness or something that need to be silenced. Symptoms are the body's way of communicating there's a problem, right? And today we're talking about like emotional symptoms, psychological symptoms, and that feedback, it's like I talk about nervous system healing, and a massive part of nervous system healing is emotional regulation. And so if you want your nervous system to operate properly, then being emotionally regulated is a big, big, big part of that, right? And so you can do the diet right and you can do the somatic exercises, but if you continue to betray and abandon yourself emotionally, it doesn't matter. It's like it'll come undone. It'll come undone. It doesn't matter. So these are the deeper core aspects of healing your nervous system, because again, we want to get you started physiologically, physically. We want to heal the body, get the body to where it can actually focus on deeper things without feel like it's stuck in survival mode. Then you have space, you have energy, you have motivation, you have focus again, right? And then we can get to the deeper work, like what we're going to talk about today, like reparenting, the more confrontational stuff. And there's a couple of techniques that I use pretty regularly. I think reparenting and self-love, like of all of the stuff I've learned in my 40 years being on this earth, working with different healers. I mean, I started at age 4. These two for me, like I know that people like tapping or NLP, but I like these two because I find that they just get right to the core. And, I've said this before, maybe I said this in my book, Amy, I can't remember, but I feel like I've mentioned this, that if I could just choose one practice, it would have been self-love. Like that would really cover so many of our traumas, emotional discomfort, psychological discomforts. Like it really does dissolve so much of the pain in our own systems.
If I'm remembering correctly, in leading an intentional life, we did a whole chapter on self-love.
Yeah. So it's definitely such an important practice. And when we're learning to regulate, so like when we're kids, we do what we all do. This is not something that's like no one gets out of this. Okay. We all are products of our environment to some degree. Okay. And we, as little ones, we mirror the environment to survive. And so if, for example, someone is not hearing us, they're abandoning us, they're rejecting us, right? Over and over again, we get the memo. In order to survive, I guess I need to just reject myself too, right? It's an identity or a coping mechanism that we take on that then becomes this thing that lives inside us the rest of our lives. And then we end up operating and building a life from there. Then you end up being 40 years old going, why does everybody still reject me and not listen to me? But see, the thing is, we mirrored that at some point. And so we taught ourselves, okay, I guess I need to be rejected. So we turn our back on ourselves in one way or another. And then when we're the adult, right, an instance happens, like I'm in the plaintiff on 7 lawsuits right now. So then you get your case removed. This actually, I'm really proud to say that I wasn't moved by this, but let's say like your case gets removed to federal court. Now, the old Paige would have been like, what the fuck? And I would have freaked out, been so insecure and nervous about how to respond to that because that's the child. That's the child going, oh my gosh, I'm left again to myself to figure this out again because the adult left the room psychologically. So when things happen in real life and we get triggered, we get anxiety, we get insecure, we go into these frantic modes, that's the adult or the parent or the authority leaving the room, and the inner child comes back up and is like, God damn it. That's who's freaking out. And so when we do reparenting, we're basically saying to the kid, no, 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 no. It's 2025. I got you. You're fine. And there's different levels to reparenting, and we're going to go through some of that with Amy. But like, we're basically letting the child know, no, I'm in charge. You're safe. Go play with your toys. I will not abandon you ever again. And it's a very integrative process. Like, I remember going through this in real time and just as a circle around point to, my cases. When they removed them to federal court, I was like, okay. The adult handled that. The child didn't, she was cool because she knew I had her back. Now, back in 2019, I was having a conversation with my mom, who was overreacting as she always did. We were getting ready to go to the Middle East, and she's throwing a tantrum. She's really upset. And I'm rolling my eyes because I'm like, here we are again. And I said something to her along the lines of, I don't know how you expect me to respond if you're going to act this way. Like, why can't we just talk about this like adults? And actually got my mom to calm down. But my inner child was like, no, we are not talking to her. Like I could hear the voice in my head going, we are not safe. We are not talking to her. And I literally, like, I'm observing this internal echo about how she's not safe. We're not safe. We need to go and not deal with her because she has gone there. And so like, in my own brain, I was like, don't worry. I'm going to talk to her. You're fine. The whole time I'm talking to my mom, though, and I got my mom to calm down and actually got her to be like present. And like when I say present, like beyond the defensiveness, like she was in the moment, she wasn't operating from defense. And the whole time, my inner child was just like, no, she's not having it. And I just kept having to have this inner dialogue. And I was like, you're fine. You're safe. She can't access you anymore. I'm going to deal with her. And it was one of those real time moments where I was able to repair that and show her, you're safe. I'm not subjecting you to her anymore. Right? Because when the child reacts, it's because they think, oh my gosh, I'm getting in trouble again. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get the belt again. Oh my gosh, like whatever that patterning was from your childhood, that's what's coming up. And that's why we freak out. But reparenting is where you connect with that child and you're like, yo, lady, I am so sorry that I ever left you on your own to handle whatever. That won't happen again. And we change belief systems with this as well, right? So like with what we're going to talk about with Amy, we're going to kind of go through some repatterning today and in real time, because I want people to see what this work actually looks like. Because once you learn it, you don't need someone to help you. You can do this on your own, right?
Yeah. And do you remember the first time you brought up inner child work? And my inner child was like, I'm not looking at you. Like she didn't even want to
Oh,
look at me.
she was like not having it at all.
No. It took months to actually get her to like engage with me. Yeah.
Well, and when we go inside, things like guilt, shame, disgust, it's amazing how these feelings can come up. And it's like, are these mine? Are these hers? Where did these come from? Right? When we have situations that are not healthy for us and we don't know how to understand them because we're little, we just take on a label because we need to make sense of it. Oh, well, this is you ever hear people are like, I can't get close because then I get the ick. Are you familiar with that one, Amy? Like,
Yeah, they get the ick. Yeah.
like they're too available. Ick. Do you know what that is?
What is that?
That's disgust.
Really?
It's disgust. It's your own disgust for yourself being projected outward. That's what that is. And it's mind-boggling because so many people have it. We were taught to reject ourselves oftentimes, right? Like our nervous systems became regulated based on like, I'm not worth it. I must be disgusting. And so since there was this foul rejection of us, we take on that rejection. And so when anybody tries to love us, we're like, ew, how dare you do that? Can you believe that? Like it's insane to me. And so like that was a big one for me to have to rectify the disgust because that was a huge defense mechanism. Excuse me, sorry, these are bubbly. That was a huge defense mechanism for me my whole life, like my own disgust for myself. And defense mechanisms are interesting because like we use them as though they're false and true at the same time, right? Like if you find me disgusting, I'm right. See, I'm disgusting. I'm right. Like it doesn't matter which way you try to angle it. Like it's there to protect you, but you're not protecting yourself at all.
Mm-mm.
Like they work, but they don't at the same time. Like it's kind of twisted, and I'm not doing a very good job explaining it right now, but like you end up attracting more of what you don't want because of its the nature of it. So it's a good time.
I'm so messy.
And then we're like, why does my life look like this? Why does this keep happening? Right. And that's why. It's because of these beliefs, these relationships to ourselves, the defense mechanisms we take on, and then we just constantly keep mirroring the old pattern over and over and over again and prove yourself right. Oh, see, they left. I must be disgusting. Oh, see, everyone abandons me. Oh my gosh, see, I always get rejected. There it is. Yeah, because we're still mirroring the pattern, right? So, like, for me, it was like I had to go in and go, you're not disgusting at all. Like, you're not disgusting and showing her own beauty, because I was so rejected so badly by my mother, like so badly rejected that I was like, well, I must be horrible. She can't even process the concept of like just like sitting with me in my pain. And that's what we do. We're like we're in pain. We have needs as children, and when they get like just violently rejected, we just internalize it and go, well, I must be the bad guy. And that's what shame is. So, and that's why we keep reliving it. Yeah, right over there.
Yeah,
What are you thinking?
just stuff.
So, we had a discussion, and I'll let you tell the story about finances. That was kind of what brought it up, correct?
Yeah, it was a big trigger. I grew up in poverty and I've worked my way to like these goals, right? And they're small. I mean, they're negligible compared to what my other people might have, but to me it's kind of a big deal to finally have a savings, to have a investments. And with everything going on and the way the world has kind of shifted into this volatile place, like my investments, I was up, I'm under. And I'm like, I'm not like gonna panic sell it or anything, but it still kind of hits you in the gut when you look and you were, so far up and it's now under and you're like, wow, oh, sheesh, now I've lost money. You know what I mean? And my savings, with the way prices are going up, even though everything's budgeted, my money's going down. And I remember going back to this little girl that would sit at Christmas and just wonder, and I don't even celebrate Christmas anymore, but I remember going back to that little girl that was sitting by herself. I was being punished for wanting to watch my cousin's Ninja Turtle movie he got. They decided they didn't want me there, like in the little nook where they were watching the movie. So I was told I couldn't be there. And I remember, I would think about it as kind of the ultimate rejection, right? Because it's a movie. Like there was no reason it couldn't be shared with me. And it made me hate holidays. And then we're coming into this holiday season and things are tight again. And I'm just like, I never wanted to come back here. I fought through to where I got a little bit of a head. So like when I'm watching it dwindling, it just hits so hard because you're going, no, 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 I don't want to pull another $100 out of my savings and put it in my checking. But here we are. And sometimes it's obviously more than that. But my point is every time, it doesn't matter how small it is. It could be $50 I need to pull over. It feels gross because I'm like, I got to this point and now it's slipping, and my investments that I was so excited to like be an adult and have investments are slipping. So you had brought up that it was actually kind of the reaction of my inner child, which it stuck me because I wouldn't have attributed it to that, you know? But it's hard because I'm not the only one. I know there's a lot of people having a hard time right now, but it is something that hits you viscerally. Like you are in it and you're reliving every moment that there wasn't enough food on the table. You're reliving every moment that there wasn't money for whatever, whether it was I would like this t-shirt to we need bread, you know? So it just all kind of comes back.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to that, you know?
Yeah.
Like poverty is not something I can relate to. I was raised very well. I mean, and if I ever needed resources, they're there. Like I have had to find motivation without survival. A lot of people instantly find motivation because they're like, fuck this, I'm never going back here. And so it drives them. But like for me, I had to find motivation in other ways because I didn't, my parents were always like, if you need us, we're here, we got you, you know, like my dad's invested in every business I've ever done. Like, so, but I think a lot of people can relate to what you're saying. Like, I know a lot of people can relate to what you're saying to this specific identity crisis, right? And when you feel it, it is visceral. And when it's visceral, you know it's the child,
Yeah.
right? It's intellectual. You're like, oh, we have a problem. Let's deal with it. But if it's visceral, that means it lives in the body and it belongs to a past part of yourself that didn't get resolved.
And I think to be fair, it is visceral, but it also hits in other ways when it feels like survival again. So there is the intellectual side that calmly is like, okay, we might need to figure something out, you know, like we're okay, but we're not where we wanted to stay. We're slipping from where we were. But the visceral side is definitely, you know, hard to manage because you start
Right, because it's
panicking.
the child in the back of the car that's crying and while you're driving. That's what that is. And you're like, I don't know how to soothe her, right? And the thing is, you don't have to know how to fix the current problem. You just have to let her know you're in charge of it. That's the difference. People think, well, I have to be able to prove it. No, you don't. No, you don't. She just wants to know that you're going to protect her.
That feels hard because my little girl was always inquisitive. So she's like, well, but how? So how do you just tell her like, no, you're fine. You're fine. I got this. Is that how you'd manage it?
She is asking how because she still hasn't learned to trust you.
Well, dang, why you gotta attack me like this?
Just saying, because I've been there with my own demons. So like I've been through the rodeo. Like, you know, the mind stops chattering when you're healed. As you heal the ego, the unconscious part of you, there's less chatter to come up. It is what it is. There's nothing to argue because there's not a disconnect to fight from. You're integrated, you're whole, right? So like the child is with the adult when you do a lot of the healing work. So when a problem comes up, you just deal with it as the adult. There's no like, oh my God, here we go again. You know what I mean? But until she learns to trust you, she's going to be like, I don't know, lady, because you keep saying you're there and then you keep bouncing on me. And so that's why reparenting is really important because you have to show her, like, I'm here to protect you. Part of part of reparenting is correcting the record. I allowed you to feel this way. I allowed you to be this way. I allowed you to believe this thing. I allowed it. But I'm here to let you know that that was never accurate. That regardless of what the world throws at us, I got you. When I was little Amy, I didn't know how to protect you, but I'm adult Amy now, and I know how to protect you. Amy, you've got, you know, three little ones as it is. So it's not like you aren't in real time protecting children, right? You just haven't learned how to protect your own inner child.
I had something and it's gone. It's gone. Um, so when your inner child doesn't trust you, I mean, it's one thing to just say like it's gonna be okay.
You ask her what she needs.
Okay. So the next step is when you're having a problem with your inner child that you can't seem to get past, you say, what do you need?
What do you need from me to trust me?
Okay.
Because again, you want to go from their perspective, not the adult. Because the adult's like, I'm here, what's the problem? And the child remembers. The
Yeah.
child remembers you sitting at Christmas, not getting maybe what your friends got and thinking, we're poor, we're broke, we're gross. The
I mean,
child,
there were Christmases that we got socks and undies, Paige.
I believe you, and I am so sorry. Like, I literally, like, I feel I've had my fair share of issues. Do not get me wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I don't wish assault and litigation on anybody or losing not a child, a sibling. But no, that one was not. I was the one throwing tantrums that like I didn't. I would count the presents. I'd be like, why did so and so get more presents than me? Like, and my parents would be like, we spend an equal amount on each child. It just sometimes is divided up. One gets more physical gifts. Paige, calm down. Go drive your little Corvette and leave. That was my childhood. I was spoiled as fuck growing up, and so I had other lessons, but I can only imagine if you're because I remember feeling like I wasn't good enough. And here we are, like one of the biggest houses on the block. Like in hindsight, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what was like kids just don't know how to have perspective, you know what I mean? But like I can only imagine if you legitimately were like struggling to have the newest, the best, to have Christmas, to have all that. Because when you're a child, man, like that evidence is critical.
I think at a certain point, like depending on where your parents fall, you don't even expect it. You know what I mean? So like I remember they told us to make a list one year and I literally wrote, I was like, I know there's no Santa and I'm not getting Barbie's dream house, so like I don't care. I just appreciate you guys, you know? And my brother's sitting there going through the Walmart ads, you know, like I want this and I want this. And I remember feeling sad for him. And I'm only 2.5 years older, so it's not like I'm a decade older or something like that. So I think depending on, you know, where somebody falls in poverty, because there's lower poverty and then there's, you know, upper middle class or middle class and lower class and upper lower. And I don't even know where we fell because our house wasn't turmoil. There was no drug addict. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
there
right,
was none of
right,
that.
right.
So we had a cohesive family where there was clearly love. You know, you look back and you can find the issues, but as a child, I didn't really see the issues. But I stopped trying to compete with my peers because I couldn't. You know, they'd make fun of how I dressed and yeah.
But there's still a part of you that's like, I'm not going back there. If you were really
Yeah,
at peace with it, that there would not be an issue.
you're right. And I really do like I can't do it.
Right. And that's her. That
Okay.
that's her going, I'm not doing that. I'm not going back there. That's her.
And I think, and I'm going to ask you a question. I'm sorry, this is going to happen. And my eyes are already irritated from putting on mascara because I never wear makeup. But if you don't believe what you're saying, the inner child's not going to either, right?
But again, we are not saying, we're not lying to her. We're not saying we're never going to be poor again. But see, in that moment, it was deeper. There was something that she felt neglected by that or something. There was something there that was coming up as a result. And that's what she's afraid to experience again.
I don't know that I've ever left that place though. So
Right.
like how do you like not good enough or whatever, unworthy. So how do you look at her and go, "Oh, I'm not going to let you do that again" when you've never left that place?
And that's one of the biggest components of reparenting because that's when you have to take radical accountability for the fact that for 40 years you let every part of you believe you're not good enough. But when you go back to the original moment in time where you can remember learning it, it kind of it heals everything forward. So it's not like you have to do every age. You go back to the original memory of where you then that's what it probably is. Like, right, we are poor or whatever, therefore I'm not good enough. Like there was an equation that you made in your brain and you let her believe that because you don't know any different. And it's not something that we shame ourselves for. We didn't know any better. But see, the adult can go in and rectify the situation and go, I'm so sorry. And let me just tell you, when you start repairing this, you're gonna just grieve. You're gonna feel 40 years of like, I can't believe I did that to myself. And it's really powerful, right? Because now you're going to that child. Let's say that your little one, and I won't use her name because we're public, but let's just say she was like, I don't want to feel poor, mom. I don't want to feel not good enough, mom. You don't have a way to prove to her that she is good enough, right? Except to say, I've got you. You're good enough for me. And it's the same thing. Like whatever you would say to your child in present day is what the inner child needs to hear back then that didn't get to hear. That's why we call it reparenting, right? The parent failed to do this for us. So now we go back in and we show that child, it doesn't matter if we're broke. You're still good enough for me. And you're still good enough for God, or you're still good enough for whoever, like whatever, again, whatever the child needs to hear. And
Okay.
that's where you bridge the gap and you create that connection internally so that she doesn't feel left behind. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so you don't need proof that like we're gonna get through this recession. It has nothing to do with that. It's I'm not gonna leave you behind. And by the way, you're good enough as you are. Even if you lost everything, you would still be good enough for me. Even if you had nothing, you would still be good enough for me. And when you feel friction or resistance in those dialogues, that's where you go, okay, what do I need to hear from you? What do you need to tell me? Like, what am I missing? Because I want to make it right. I find that apologizing to the child and taking active responsibility is really powerful. And you'll feel it. Like, it's weird. When you first start, there's a sense of that ick. You're like, I'm not used to being this intimate and it feels awkward. But then once you realize like how much damage you've done to yourself over time, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe, oh, I did it again. I need to go rescue her. Like in the beginning, you're like, this is awkward. But then over time, you're like, nobody's gonna talk to my inner child like that, especially me. You know what I mean? And it becomes a very different position that you operate from.
So, not asking you to give obviously a blanket answer, but this takes time, right? So, somebody's not going to do this exercise and just one and done. Maybe if they're like super lucky, but they might have to practice this for a while to get all the way through it.
So this is something that is as needed, right? So like life has a way of showing us our blind spots. Like we'll go through a season and be like, I'm on top of the world. This is amazing, right? Because life is this ever turning wheel. And so we're like, I'm on top of the world. Everything is good. I got no blind spots, but then the wheel keeps turning. And the next thing you know, it's dark and you're eating shit. And you're like, everything is coming up again on the shadow side, right? Like that's the nature of life. And so then you're like, oh crap. Okay, we have more work to do. But then at least you have the tool to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been doing parenting work since about 2013, and I did some reparenting work this summer, right? Like stuff will still come up, and you can use it with big triggers or small triggers. So, like if you notice, so as a fearful avoidant in recovery, I feel like I'm a recovered fearful avoidant, but like that was my attachment style, right? And so the core wound of a fearful avoidant is betrayal. I always knew this. And I was like, but I've worked on the betrayal thing with my mother. I've worked on that. Why do I still get betrayed by people? And it came full circle this summer when I realized I was like, but I'm the original person who betrayed me because I never reparented the agreement. like I betrayed me too, right? Like the part of me that just wanted to be free, to be a child, to live and be excited. I told her it's not safe, don't do that. And I took on a very different persona. Like I did some major reparenting this summer. I took on the fighter persona. I'm a warrior. Like I took on that persona and I literally kept that part of myself on a shelf this whole time because it wasn't safe. Like to be armored was safer. And as I'm dealing with all these litigations, like it just one day I was like, this is not arbitrary. Like the universe is really trying to awaken me to something. And I've really stepped into my authority on a lot of levels, but there was more. And life was like, no, you're graduating and it's time to stop reacting from the defensive child when things go wrong. You're going to reparent that. It's done. No more tantrums, no more fighting. You're just going to step into your voice, be the authority, and handle it like an adult from now on. That was radical for me. Like, and I've been reparenting for, 12, 13 years. But again, like we come across these pieces, and that was a new one for me. And I love it. Like I feel more integrated now than ever because those pieces of me, when someone would come at me, I would just go right into fight mode and it would drain me and I'd get exhausted and here I am doing everything in my power to actually actively heal my nervous system and this piece just kept popping up. I'm like, 7 litigations. What are you trying to get at me? Like what is going on, universe, right? So,
Mhm.
and I'm prevailing, but it was like, what is the message here? And it was, like, stop making her fight for herself. Be the fucking adult in the room, Paige. So, and now I don't react from that place. Like I said, when I got the emails that my cases were removed to federal court, I was like, okay, well, we'll just take the next step then and dismiss them. But the child was not reacting because I had healed that part. I've been working on that all year. And so I felt integrated and congruent in that moment. And since then, you know what I mean? You've been a part of the process of dealing with Barclays. And it's like, this is the best you got, Barclays. Come on. Like there's no erratic, insecure part of me that's like, it's just okay. See the difference, you know?
So that's the proof then is when something comes up that would have normally been a trigger and you recognize, oh wow, like it's not triggering the same. So
Mhm.
you might not have the proof right when you do the work. It'll happen when there's like a trigger again.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Right. And so you'll see yourself become more refined over time and like, but like in hindsight, not so much, as you're looking forward, you'll be like, because you don't know what's coming. But in hindsight, you'll be like, oh, I didn't react that time. Oh, didn't go into that place. And the anxiety didn't kick up, right? Because the child, she's cool.
That's so interesting. I feel like I have so much, like, even though we've had these conversations before, it's almost like when we have them fresh, my brain picks out new things that I need to work on, you know?
I
So
don't,
I'm,
yeah, I don't know that the work is ever done because I feel like as long as we're on this planet in these bodies, it's maintenance. As long as you're driving the car, you got to change the oil. There's going to be things that come up, but as long as you have the right tools, you can continue to navigate appropriately.
yes. And I think that's one of the hard things about working on healing on any level is you think you get somewhere and you're like, whoo, like I made it. And then something hits you and you're like, I didn't do anything. And you did, like you did the work, you did heal something, but there's this new level you now have to be, you know, like who's the top boss? I don't know. I haven't met her yet. I'm not there yet.
I mean, I'm 43. What will my life look like at 53 or 63? You know what I mean?
It's so interesting.
Yeah, because I feel like I've done a ton of work. I'm like, okay, now I'm learning how to disengage from power struggles on a federal level. Like, what's above that?
Right. I don't know. Maybe you just need to run for office and like get that off the plate too. And I think, we talked about the other night how like in your 20s you think you have it all figured out. And then you hit your 30s and you're like, she didn't know anything. She was clueless. And you're like, in my 30s, I'm gonna get it all done. And then you hit 40 and you're like, all right, try that again. Let me just
You're
And
like,
that's how it's been. And it's like I laugh at 20, the 20s, because I'm like, wow, I really thought I had it. Nada, nothing, big zero. And then 30s, I'm like, I'm gonna do this thing. And I have made strides, but I haven't arrived anywhere. So I'm hitting 40 going, is there anywhere to arrive? Do we ever arrive? Or do we just find a new path or like jump paths? Because we're like, that one's not working.
I
So
don't
can you
think we
speak
ever
to that a
really,
little bit?
I don't think we do arrive. I think it's just a continuous journey.
God, it's exhausting.
And I don't know if I said this to you, but it became very apparent to me when I turned 40 that again, there is no arrival. We just have to manage. Like we have to be really good at managing the ride because there's no end in sight. Like, and even now, like when I'm talking to Mark, and those who don't know Mark is kind of my mentor and he's my attorney. He even though I'm pro se on a lot of things because I don't need him to actually like be the acting attorney, he helps me from behind the scenes. He's also my partner on the political action committee, but I'll tell him, I'm like, okay, no, no, no. He's like, let's check the docket. And I'm like, no, no, we're not checking the docket today. I need a pause day. Like that's me trying to like arrive. Like I'm here and I'm really enjoying this moment and I'm not ready for the next one. Let me just be in my space, in my body with before we switch gears and move on to the next thing. No, I want to just pause. Let's not check the docket today. Thank you very much.
Well, and I feel like we all got set up in school even like that far back because I remember they kept saying, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have it all figured out. And then we showed up our senior year and they're like, what are you doing and why don't you know? And I'm like, oh
I
my
know.
God, I don't know. And they didn't tell us about parenthood. They didn't, like maybe mentions, but not the truth. And the same thing about a lot of things.
Oh, those boomers, they lied about parenthood. Did they ever lie? I think millennials have been radically honest about the truth.
Well, I think we're fed up with being lied to, right? Like we're just like, why didn't you say these things? In a specific example, it's TMI, but it's okay. When I was getting ready to go into the C-section, they're like, this is just routine surgery. It's not a big deal. And my aunt was like, you're not like the first time you stand up, you're going to feel your guts go into place and like it's very bothersome. You're going to just be shocked at how you feel. Had she not told me that, I would have thought I was dying. So even all these experiences I've had where people are like, oh, it's just routine, it's no big deal. And you're like, that they didn't tell me they were going to take everything outside of me either. So, like, I was really bothered. I was just in shock. Like, how do you hide this information as if I'm not going to go through it in like 15 minutes? And that level of, um, I don't necessarily know that they mean it to be dishonesty, right? But it is. And sometimes I'm the anomaly. So the medicine didn't work on me the same way. So I could feel things that maybe other people don't feel. I don't know what other people feel. I can only feel from myself. So it's just interesting how much we've actually been lied about or how much has been lied about to us. And I think our generation has had to navigate blindly almost. Because there's also been a lot of changes, right? Like our parents did not grow up with the internet. We were at the beginning of the internet. We're
Right.
like, all of a sudden there's this new thing. And we had dial up. Like kids today will never understand.
I know, right?
And now we have AI. Like we have run the whole gamut of tech so far and all these other things. So I feel like we've always been destabilized.
And that, is another reason to, again, regulate yourself and maintain internal stability, right?
Absolutely.
Because we can't control what's going to happen on the outside. We
Yeah.
can only regulate what's happening internally. And that's why I love reparenting. And anytime I feel like triggered, I know that's the child. It's not the adult, you know? And so that provides an opportunity. Your triggers are opportunities to connect with yourself, to connect with the inner child, and not the fact that we get on SSRIs or GLP-1s, or we do things to try to silence the feedback, when actually that's you crying for help is what that is.
It's a really great point.
And I don't say this because like I just had it made so easily. No, I overcame severe depression, psychosomatic disorder in my early 20s. Severe. Like I cried every day of my life. Like, so I know what it's like to live in this space in your head where you feel out of control, and you just want proof on the outside so you can feel good on the inside, but it doesn't work that way. That's what addiction is. It's chasing something. And so we have to change the navigation, go internal and reconnect with ourselves. That's how you quiet the noise. That's how you bring down the volume and create equilibrium. It's because you connect internally. It has nothing to do, you could chase all day long. I get into these arguments, like with even former friends who were like, no, like achievement's my highest value. And I just like to keep achieving. Okay, then why are you never happy with your achievements then? It's like a bottomless
Oh
pit.
my gosh.
Throw them in there.
I just said that to somebody recently. They were talking about how they always operated from this specific place, but it kept them safe. And I said, hold on. If you've always operated from this place, but you keep having the same experiences, it has not kept you safe. That's a lie.
Correct.
Like you're lying to yourself. So just drop it. Like it's not serving you, it's not helping you. And you know what? It's so easy to see it in other people and like be blind to it on your own, you know?
But see, what's so empowering is that, so the child is like, we need this. Like the child is the part of the brain that's like, go to the external for validation. What we miss is that it's actually you that needs to do the validating, right? And this is why people get stuck in power struggle loops. Like if I could just get them to recognize my value, if I could just get them to see what I did. No, bitch, you need to recognize your value and what you did, and then that loop will close. And
And
people
I will
outsource,
say,
outsource, 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 and then they drain their whole, like one of the best ways to drain yourself and to disempower yourself and to be dysregulated and exhausted is to outsource your validation. Keep it up, and you will just be exhausted.
I will say when I learned that I actually don't want to hear anything from anyone else. Like I can cheer for me and that's plenty. I don't need that anymore. That was huge. Like huge. Because when I accomplish, it's just like, okay, good job, keep going. Like there's so much more to do. Keep going. But I wasn't looking for it outside anymore. And it really does free up your time to where you're like, wow, did I really spend that much time trying to impress all these people that didn't give a shit or didn't like
People spend so much time obsessing over someone or something. Just did
it's
a
so
whole piece on that.
bad.
I just did a whole piece on that where it's like people think that they have time management issues. No, you don't. You just spent hours ruminating. You,
It's
you,
so bad.
You have an emotional regulation problem. That's all that is. Like you will get back hours from your day when you learn to emotionally regulate yourself. Hours. And I mean, I see this all the time in clients, friends. It's like, it's been a week. Are you still dwelling on that?
Well, and I want to be fair to anybody. Well, I want to be fair to anybody watching. You're still going to have those times. Like if you're sleep deprived or you haven't been eating correctly, those old patterns will like peak up and go knock knock. Are you going to entertain me? And you might, but you can shut them down faster. But I don't want to like, I don't want anybody to think I have it all under control just because I bumped out one little bad habit or a couple bad habits. It's not true. I can get stuck on something in a loop and just keep replaying it till I'm satisfied, you know?
But as you do more reparenting, and then obviously the self-love, which this video is not about. My skin gets so red if I touch it. But like if you combine those two, the noise goes away. Like the echoes, the chatter, it goes away. It's incredible. Like you'll go through a period where you're like, I am so bored. What can I get myself into? They feel like I can't believe, you know, peace is boredom. It is. I know. And so just warning you, peace is really boring.
Is that why people chase drama? Because the piece is boring?
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah. But it's like, again, as you dissolve those things and you integrate them, your brain is freed up. It's easy to keep moving when you're not distracted by your own triggers.
That's great information.
But it's really hard to stay focused when you're constantly being triggered by your environment. Because then you have to manage that, stick it somewhere, figure out a way to like not ruminate on it or ruminate like how do I shelve this so I can ruminate on it later so I can meet this deadline? Like that's exhausting, you know? And that's what we do until we start really healing. And people think that I'm like non-caring. It's not that I'm not caring. I actually care more, and my capacity to show up and be available for people has greatly what's the word? You're a ghostwriter. Anyway, it's gotten
Increase.
bigger. Increased. Yeah, it's increased. I don't react. And people are used to seeing reactions as a form of interest or care. And so when you don't do that anymore, they just assume you don't care, you're not interested. And it's like, no, it's just I don't need to get caught up in the drama to show you that you're important to me.
Is that kind of observer mode too?
Yeah, I mean, you observer mode is something that you can like when you're first learning to heal, there's a lot of observation that goes on because you want to catch things as opposed to slip into the identity of it. But after a while, it just becomes second nature, like seeing Barclays opposing counsel, like they're acting like a douchebag on the street who wants my attention. Like as you step out and you just look at things objectively, you're able to detach and not get caught in the drama. You're like, this is the best you can do. Okay. I thought it was going to be a lot more like, and then maybe once YouTube gets served, because we have 90 days, so we're just waiting. We're going to do it like the last day. Sort of YouTube. But like maybe they'll be more fun to spar with. I don't know.
They might be.
They might be. Ballard Spar is the law firm that is representing Barclays, and they're like they call themselves the most feared law firm in the United States. It's like, yeah, why? Because you like prey on people's insecurities? Like, what the fuck is that?
I don't know what I'm allowed to ask right now.
I don't know why I would be insecure. I'm not in the wrong. You guys did me dirty, and all you're doing is trying to move it. You're trying to move the goalpost. Like it's like I don't see what you're doing. What are you we done moving the goalposts? Can we actually deal with accountability now? Because I'm not going anywhere. You guys can continue to shell out more and more money, hoping that I'll leave, but I'm not.
Well, and
I'm
that's what's crazy is they're getting to the point where they will have spent more money than they would have just taking care of their problem.
They spent that money a long time ago. Again, the one charge is 4,000, the other one's 1,500. They're well over 100 grand now in defense fees.
Just to be right.
No, not even to be right, because they know they're not right. They're just hoping that they can put me in a position where I won't be able to keep going. Boilerplate, boilerplate, boilerplate. Are we done boilerplating? Because at some point I would like my money back. And now, I mean, the longer these things go, the more I'm like, just keep showing me who you are. I will re-amend, add it to the next round. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Sanction, sanction. I don't fucking care. You want to be a douchebag? I'm just here to get my money back. You guys are the ones playing procedural games, and I see it for what it is. And at the end of the day, you're still going to give me my money back, is what's going to happen.
It blows my mind that they've spent that much money to just not give you your money back.
I
Like, what?
know. No, trust me. And if I got into all the details on this, people would be blown away, like blown away at the responses I've gotten and the negligence behind it. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can settle with me, or they can eventually get in front of a judge and explain their behavior. Gee, I wonder which one's going to be more uncomfortable. I mean, but again, they thought that they could get rid of me by moving this to federal court, and I fired back 3 days later in federal court. It's a bully tactic. That's all it is. You know what I mean? People, and again, like I said this, another piece that I did, the more you heal, the easier you see the betrayals. So, like, when you're unhealed, everything is filtered through your pain. This is happening to me. When you're healed, you're like, the fuck is wrong with them? Like, the way you see things changes. It's not, why is this happening to me? You're like, what's wrong with them? You know, and this is a huge part of nervous system healing and emotional regulation. Once you do tons of reparenting and self-love, you're no longer asking questions like, do they like me? Is it good enough? Do they want me back? And then you're like, did I like them? Do I want to go on another date? Do I want them to have me back? Like, it completely shifts. You're no longer concerned because the validation is internal.
That's a really great point.
So now it just becomes an issue of, do I want to participate again?
And how often is the answer no, Paige? Almost every time, right?
No, I wouldn't say almost every time, but like, I'm certainly not trying to hang my hat on their merits. I'm not like, oh my God, I hope that they get me whatever. I mean, again, like I just think it's so funny. It's like my cousin was like, you couldn't pay for what you're experiencing right now in federal court. You couldn't buy that experience if you wanted to, right? So if I was trying to push for people to be influenced by me, I couldn't pay enough money for it. But when you're congruent, integrated, and you're operating from integrity and you're showing up and you're pushing, and you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, it's just like, oh, the world opens up. So
So what would be like if you had to break it down for people as simply as possible, the steps? Because I'm one of those people, I like the steps altogether.
So there is an activity. I can't take credit for it. I actually got it online from another woman, and she probably got it from another woman. I gave you the exercise. I did send it to you, but it's basically like 6 questions to ask. Like if you were to sit in a room with every version of yourself from birth all the way to now, there's 6 different questions you can ask yourself, you know. With the reparenting one of the questions, you know, is what does she need to tell me? And that's a really powerful one because then it automatically puts you in touch with like the piece that needs healing.
Okay.
And you just start a dialogue, you know, you go in and you give her what she needs. And if she fights you, you just stand more present. You just stay more present because that's consistency and that's showing her you are there, you're not going anywhere. You know, you have to give her what she missed out on and what she always needed. Like that's where your power lies. People think it's in all these external things. No, the power is internal. The power is in the capacity to show up for yourself on every level and to speak on her account. And like the other thing people don't get, and this is something that I'm very adamant about, is if you have a falling out with someone, for example, right? Or let's say that you're dealing with a narcissist or someone who doesn't care what you have to say and isn't going to hear you anyway. We don't show up and speak for them. That's not why we're doing it. We're doing it for the part of ourself that never felt safe to speak up to begin with. We speak for them. We speak for that person. So we can correct the record internally. It doesn't matter how it lands. It matters that you stood up for her. That's why we do it. That's why speaking is so healthy and so important.
That's huge.
Yeah, people think, well, but what if they don't receive it? Or I act on vulnerability, I get rejected. Get rejected by them. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you showed up for you. You didn't reject you. Because every time you're in a crossroads, right? And you have an opportunity to show up authentically and vulnerably and say the truth. If they reject you, that doesn't matter. What matters is in that moment you were whole. You spoke up for her. That's where the healing happens. It happens because you were present and she got to witness that from you. That's how you heal. You don't need anybody on the external to validate you. People can, absolutely. I'm not saying they can't. It's great when you have people in your life who can hold that space, but you don't have to rely on that to heal. You can be your own container. And then one of the exercises, I know I've told you about this exercise, but I love this exercise where like a lot of times I'll teach clients, you know, to get into a ritual and to like meditate every day. And they're like, well, I don't know how to meditate. And so I'll have them actually kind of overlap with the reparenting where I'm like, okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go internally, visualize, and you're going to pick up your inner child and you're going to take them for a little play date every day for 15 minutes. And for those 15 minutes, that inner child gets to do whatever she or he wants. And that is so powerful. You do that every day for a year.
See, that's where we couldn't even get to before.
Yeah. Like that is, I love that exercise. I love that exercise. I guarantee though, if you keep going, and you get her trust, you'll get to a point where she's going to realize that you actually are the parent. And she's going to look forward to those play dates.
So you just keep trying.
And again, yeah, and again, you know, you don't want to force it. You just want to allow it. So it's like, what did I do that I need to correct so you can trust me? You don't bombard her with, you should trust me. I'm cool. Like it's fine. It's just, you know,
Let me convince you.
it's fine. No, no, no. That's not how it works. It's about again, cultivating that trust and letting her tell you where you went wrong so you can make it right.
That's great.
I love that. And actually, I had a therapist when I was younger, and she said one of the things that she did with her kids was every day for 15 minutes. She's like, it's your turn, it's your time. You might want to try this with your kids, actually, if you haven't already. It's your 15 minutes to do whatever you want. You're in charge. And it teaches them autonomy. It shows them that they're being seen, they're being heard. They're completely in control. So it gives them a sense of, empowerment. Um, and so I was like, when I was cultivating these practices for myself, I was like, I'm going to try that with my inner child. And it was so powerful.
I think that's awesome.
She feels seen and heard. And that's the most important part. She wants to feel seen and heard. So if you're listening, like, this is good stuff. I'm telling you, you can practice this and you'll feel your nervous system regulate, because the nervous system for women really, really needs safety. And so if you can cultivate that internally, that's half the battle of healing your nervous system.
Is there anything else you wanted to say?
I think I'm good. Is there anything else that you would like to ask?
No, my eyes are actually burning because when I teared up, the mascara got in them.
No.
So they're like getting puffy. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I can't even look at myself right now, but I feel like there's something going on with my eyes. I need to go check it out.
Well, I'm really thankful that you were willing to participate in this conversation so that people can kind of see the dialogue. And
I think people would love access to our personal conversations in general. They're so good.
yeah, I mean, it's life isn't as hard as you think it is. It's just that you're disconnected from your true self. Like if you can really go inward, and when people say, like I hated this from the yoga community, be like, go inward. But like no one actually go inward. They would just like meditate like zombies and act like they were spiritual. Going inward means connecting with yourself. Connect with yourself. You connect with yourself and you heal that, you'll be unstoppable.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Amy, for participating, and to the
Thank
audience
you,
for
Paige.
watching. And until next time, bye.